Hello, guys. Hello. Hello, sir. Is
Yes.
audible? Guys, just wait for a few more minutes. So we'll start session. Yes, sir.
Hey guys, meanwhile everyone joins. Do you guys have any kind of doubts in the previous classes, in the previous topics? Anyone? Anyone wants to ask anything? I'll just quickly share my screen. Just tell me if you have any kind of doubts in any of the slides, okay? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So, any doubts in these slides or anywhere? No? Yes, no, anything, guys? You need to speak up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
No, means no doubts from your end? No questions?
No, sir. Till yesterday means last class, no doubt is there. Any of
Okay. Okay. So Naveen sir, shall we start? Like having said that, we are already 6 minutes on board. Seems like very less count today also. Yeah. Give me a second, guys. Cool. So today we're gonna start with this types of software testing. So I want you guys to understand that when the software testing got evolved, right? It evolves in the late 90s or something like that, right? Late 90s and very early 20s. That's when it happens, right? Earlier, the developer would be used to do the testing, but later on they figure out that if developer would do the testing quality will not be that much. Okay, basically. So basic idea is that they came up with a basic testing strategies, basic testing concepts, and that time there is no such book uh, which can which can set a benchmark for whole world, right? So every corner of the world they are coming up there with their own set of basically concepts and all in order to describe testing, right? So if you go to the today if now you go to the internet and search what are the types of software testing, you will find n number of bifurcations, right? Some people will say that it is verification and validation, that there are two types of testing. This is nothing but the verification and validation. Some people will say it's two types: manual testing and automation testing. Some people will say that it's three types: white box testing, black box testing, gray box testing. Some people will say it's only two types, which is nothing but white box and black box. So basically what I'm trying to say, like we had in our religion and all, right? When the religion got evolved, we have some certain books to follow which world can follow. But when testing got evolved, it doesn't seems to be happening like that. What happened, there are certain different bunch of people all around the world, they came up with their own concepts. Nowadays testing is an evolving thing. Nowadays also you will find different types of testing is getting added in the concept. Okay, so if someone says that no, there are only two types of testing, verification and validation, and you are saying that no, there are two types, white box testing and black box testing, that doesn't mean you are correct and they are wrong, or that either doesn't mean that they are correct and you are wrong. Okay, so have that in your mind. If you go to the internet and search for what is a type of testing and you find a different bifurcation, don't say that sir taught us wrong or something like that. Okay, or interviewer says like this, no, types of testing are not this, these are the types of testing. So you can explain that it is not like that. In our course we have studied in this way, in this manner, and I'll also try to tell you how exactly this type of testing is being bifurcated. Got the understanding, guys, what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Cool.
sir.
Cool. Any point of time if you feel like no, you are not understanding something with slide or not, or you want me to draw something in paint or something like that, or show you in the web pages or internet, you can frequently ask these kind of requests and all. I'll be trying to fulfill it on the class. Okay, no issues, right? Or if you feel like I'm going a little bit faster or slower, you can nudge me in between. Feel free to like interact in between the class. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Cool. So now let's understand what are the two types of testing, but which we think we have been bifurcating and using from a while. This is the, by the way, this is the mostly used way of bifurcating software testing. The way we have bifurcated these two types is on the basis of who will do this type of testing. Basically, there are some type of testing which developer will also do, but it will be not on the software, it will be on the program level, the code level. Okay, as we have understood, right? In order to make everything function, they need to do what they need to program. In order to make function this login button, if they don't program this login button, if you go and click on this login button, nothing will happen. As you know, right, these are machines, right? Machines will not do anything by themselves. We need to program machine, we need to tell the machine that you need to function like this, then only the machine will functions. So machine will function. So basically those instruction which we are giving to the machine in order to make them basically function, in order to make a certain make them a certain action on a particular reaction basically from us, that instructions are nothing called as program. Hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. If not, just please feel free to ask any questions. Okay. So basically, in order to make function this login button, what we want as soon as a user clicks the login button, it should show you either an error if the user ID and password is incorrect, or if the user ID and password is correct, it should show you a login page. Sorry, home page. Okay. So in order to make this button function, they need to program like this, right? So the developer will do what? Developer will test the program which he has written. Is it written properly or not? And the tester will do what? Tester will check whether the software is working fine or not. Getting my point? Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes. So yeah, so cool. The thing is that the whole white box testing is done by developer. The whole black box testing is done by us, the software tester. Okay. So white box testing is also called as unit testing, glass box testing, open box, transparent. We have multiple names. Like in testing, you will find this very general, that one thing will have multiple name. Like if some interviewer is asking you something with another name, you should be able to answer that question, right? If you ask what is white box testing, you should be able to answer. If you ask, give me a second, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to say, if your interviewer asking you with same question with different terms, you should be able to answer, right? So what is white box testing? Basically, if we go with the definition, it is saying like this: testing each and every line of a program, like because the programs will be in the English language, right? You'll be writing in a Java or something like that, but that is generally using this English term, right? So basically, each and every line of that program, each and every line of that particular instruction is being written properly or not, that testing is known as white box testing. As you know that why it is done by developer, why? Because as a software tester, you don't have the knowledge of program, right? Nor knowledge of programming language like Java and all, right? These are the programming languages. So you don't know, you even don't have to know in order to do the manual testing, right? That is the first reason you don't do a white box testing. Second reason is that basically you don't even understand when someone else write a program. No, it's very hard to understand what they are trying to write in that particular program, right? It is not that easy. Even though one developer is trying to understand the program of another developer, it's kind of hard to understand what exactly he's trying to write. So basically, basic idea is that the developer is responsible in order to do the white box testing. White box testing is holistically what? Testing each and every line of a program. If they have written like hundreds of lines of program, they will test each and every line, whether it is written properly, correctly or not. Got it? Yes, no, guys?
yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
I think everyone is in a weekend mood already. Yeah, but why it is called as unit testing, open box and glass box and transparent? We do have a lot of alternative names for white box testing, right? So why it is called as unit testing? Cool. So why it is called as unit testing? Because we are concentrating on each and every line, and one single line of a program we can consider as the smallest unit of that whole program. Programs maybe like it could be like hundreds of lines of programs. You can see basically if you go to the code base, basically they will you can see that there will be a lot of programs, hundreds of programs, and each program will have multiple lines, like hundreds of lines. That's how they create a whole software. It needs a lot of hard work from their end in order to create the whole software, right? So they are concentrating on the single line also, and that particular one line can be considered as a smallest unit of the whole program. That is the reason it is called as unit testing, because we are concentrating in the smallest unit also, right? The same way, right? Even for an example, we do have a body, right? And our body is made out of small cells. So one small cell can be considered as the smallest unit of the body, correct? And if we are testing that small cell also from our body, we can call that type of testing as a unit testing on our body, right? The same logic applies here. Got it? Now, why it is known as open box, glass box, transparent? Now, these three things are basically because of the same reason they have got these three names. Transparent, basically, if anything is transparent, means you can see through it, right? Glass box and open box is because of the reason we can see here the source code of the application. Now, basically, while doing white box testing, you have to see the source code. Now, question arises: what is source code? Anyone have any idea what is source code by any chance? What do you think source code is? Any guesses? No, you don't have to be like accurately correct. It's okay.
Programs written for
Main
the
code, sir. Main code for the software that will run the help to run the
Correct.
software.
I'll give you an example, right? Now, currently, we all are doing work from home, most of us, right? If we are in industry, if the COVID hit, everyone went home, right? So we all were working from home because of lockdown. So assume that the whole software will not be developed. Basically, this is the truth. The whole software can't be developed by a single developer. We'll have to have multiple developers and they have to work in different modules. For an example, I am Ali, right? I will be working on a particular module called login. So I will be responsible to, as a developer, I'll be responsible to develop login. Okay. So I will write that code in my laptop, sitting at assuming a place called Delhi. Okay. I'm sitting at Delhi, writing code and creating login. Similarly, my colleague will be there in Hyderabad. He'll be creating home page. Okay. He'll be writing the code in his laptop, right? Now, similarly, the another feature, amount transfer is being developed by so and so sitting at Goa, something like that, right? Now, if they all three are sitting at different places and their programs are with them, how will you create a whole software out of that program until and unless we got that all of the program in a one dedicated place? Getting my point? What I'm trying to say, it's, let's not take it in a programmatical example, let's take it in a general example. For an example, we are creating a bike, right? Now, chassis of the bike, the body of the bike is being created by one person who's sitting at Delhi. Now, one person is creating the engine who is sitting at Hyderabad. One person is creating the headlights and seats who is sitting at Goa. In order to create a whole bike out of it, we need to have this whole thing together, right? Then only we'll able to create a bike, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that is the same logic applies here. If developer one is developing one module, one feature, developer two is developing second feature at a different place, they need to put their program in a dedicated place so that we can create a software out of it. Correct? That particular place or that particular combined all together code can be called as source code, because eventually it will act as a source of the software, isn't it? If these programs will be not there, software will be dead, right? So this will act as a source of the software, correct? Yes or no? So basic idea is that. So basically how that works, right? If they have to dump their program, they use something called as GitHub, if you have heard about it. Have you ever heard about GitHub?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is GitHub? Can anyone tell me what is GitHub?
Repository, sir.
Repositories.
Exactly, that is a repository. What is a repository? If you call it as a simple word, what is a repository? Push and pull code. Yeah, you guys are a lot more intelligent. You know everything initially also, right? So basic idea is that repository, you can assume GitHub as a Google Drive, but a very advanced version of a Google Drive. So it is a cloud storage. You can assume it in this way. GitHub is a software which helps you interact with a cloud storage wherein you can push your code. Means you can basically whatever you have written, that code could be pushed to that repository, and even you can pull the latest code. Means latest version of code which everyone has pulled, right? Obviously, for an example, I am pushing one module code. Hyderabad person is pushing one module code, and 5 days went, I didn't pull any latest code. Pulled in the sense, basically, I didn't fetch it to my local machine, right? So basic idea is that when 5 days went, right, many of the people will be pushing their own code, right? Pushing their own code all together again and again, because there will be a lot more people working together. So basic idea is that every time I need to develop, I need to push the latest code. Why? Because there might be chances when I push my code, there will be conflicts. It's a lot more complicated thing when you resolve the conflicts and all. It's just a lot more technical. You don't have to deal with it, right? If you're an automation tester, you need to deal with this GitHub and all. But if you're a manual tester, you don't have to think of it. Okay. But yeah, what we are talking about here, let's come back to the topic, source code. So source code is basically what? Source code is basically a bunch of code which will act as a source of the software. And here in this white box testing, we are able to see the source code, and then we are able to interact with the programs. That's why it is called as open box, glass box, and transparent. How we are not able to see the source code and interact with the source code and programs directly in the black box testing or in the testing which we were doing? Yes, we don't even have to, right? Because if I want to test this login page, I don't have to open and see the programs written for login. So directly I don't have to interact with this login program. Just I will do what? I will open up the login page, put the data, click on login button, and check whether it is working fine or not. My job is done. In order to do this testing, do I need to open the source code and see the source code? Answer me that question. Do I need to see the programs written for each and every feature here in order to test this feature?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Obviously no, right? If I ask you to test WhatsApp today, one feature of WhatsApp, whether you are able to change your DP or not, you will go open WhatsApp, try to upload a picture, try to remove the picture, try to upload a picture. Basically try to replace the picture if you already have, right? And then you will be at the end, you will be able to verify, you will be able to verify whether that functionality is working fine or not, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In order to test that, do you have to see the source code? Do you have to interact with the program directly? Do you
No,
have to
sir.
check? Obviously not, right? So it is not at all needed for a manual tester or an automation tester to interact with the source code. Okay, that's why this particular type of testing is called as open box, glass box, transparent, because we do have in this type of testing, we do have a transparency of seeing the source code. But in black box testing, basically, that whatever functional testing we are trying to do, we have learned in these 2 days, that type of testing we don't do. That we don't even have to deal with the source code directly. So that's why it is called as closed box testing. Okay. On the other hand, okay, cool. So that is basically your white box testing. White box testing is all about this. You don't have to learn a lot about white box testing because it's not your job. If I can tell you in one way, like basically it's not your job. You just have to do what? You just have to do the black box testing, but you should know what developer is doing as part of testing. That's why I've taught you. Okay. So now black box testing is basically what? Verifying the functionality of an application against the requirement specification is called as black box testing, which we are learning till date. Basically, whatever we have learned, we have started the black box testing, right? We have learned the black box testing. As a manual tester or as an automation tester, we do have to do what? Verify the functionality of the application against a certain requirement which we get from the customer, which we get from the client. Got the understanding, guys? So in order to do this type of testing, we need to do what? First of all, derive the scenarios. What all scenarios could be possible in order to test this particular software perfectly. And then basically, when we get the software, we'll just try to simulate that scenarios. We'll just try to do what? We'll just try to, if we find three scenarios here, right? Test with valid user ID, valid password, invalid user ID, valid password, valid user ID, invalid password. So we will apply this whole three scenario in the software and try to validate the behavior of the software is actually correct or not. Are we clear with this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cool. Now we do have alternative names for this also. So white box test, black box testing is also called as your functional testing, closed box testing, and behavioral testing. Functional and closed box is because we are testing nothing but the functionality and the behavior of the software. Obviously, we are doing that, right? We are testing the functionality and the behavior, isn't it? When we do some sort of action, we check the reaction of the software, we check the behavior of the software on that particular action. So that's basically nothing but checking the behavior of the software, whether it is working fine. And the alternatives, it is just the alternative term of the functionality. No, basically the reason would be same for both functionality, why we call it as functionality, and why we call it as not functionality, functional, and why we call it as basically behavioral. And closed box we have already discussed, right? Any question around this particular topic, types of testing, bifurcation? Anyone? Easy to understand, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now there is one more type of testing. If you can see the bifurcation, there is one more type of testing we can lie somewhere here. We call that type of testing as gray box testing, but it is not at all frequently used type of testing. That's why we all used to dump that topic, and some people even say that it's a myth, it's not real, we don't do that. So gray box testing is just like the person who is doing both white box testing and black box testing, or who's trying to do both. So as we have already bifurcated the jobs, right? Why, like the developer will do the development and do the white box testing. Testing will only testers will only test the particular software. But basic idea is that there is a certain concept which is called as gray box testing, which includes this both white box and black box. But as if you already tell me, right? If you are a developer, you will have a lot of job to do as a developer only, and if you are a tester, you will have a lot of job to do as a tester only. So it's very hard to manage all the development job and the testing job together, hands in hand. That's like very close to impossible and very hectic job to do. So that's why we don't even try to do the gray box testing. Getting my point? I hope you guys are understanding. It's just like doing 2 degrees together and try to get an internship together, all together. So it's very hard to do. But yeah, we understood what is white box and black box. That is the main two types of testing which you can say in your interview also, in your mocks also. Okay. Coming up to types of black box testing. Now, types of black box testing, we do have a lot of type. If you go over the internet, you will literally see 100 types of black box testing which is there over the internet. But the most frequently used and most commonly practiced type of testing, type of black box testing, which you as a manual tester has to do, is these 12. Even in that particular these 12, we do have certain 2-3 types of testing which is basically for the specially skilled people. You, even if you want to do these type of testing, first you need to get a certification, specialized certification in that type of testing, and then you will be able to call yourself that tester. For an example, performance testing and accessibility testing. These 2 type of testing are basically for the specially skilled people. The normal tester can't do that. They need to get the knowledge for conducting the test of that kind, and then only they will be able to do that. So we're gonna cover a high level understanding in the performance testing, basically the theory part of it. Practical won't be able to do, as it needs a lot of knowledge. Even I don't know how to do the performance testing. That's for the person who is a specialized performance tester. People used to spend their whole life doing performance testing, so it's that vast. Okay, so we actually can't do that. But yeah, I will try to make you understand all the concept inside the performance testing. I know the theory, and I know how it works, so that knowledge I'll share with you, so that you should also have the knowledge of that type of testing. If person asks you that, you should not be blank. Okay, is it good, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now, there are certain types, right? First one is functionality testing. Second one is integrations. Third one is system. Fourth one is acceptance. Then smoke, ad hoc, compatibility, usability, exploratory, performance, globalization, and regression. All these type of testing we're gonna understand in our class, in our basically whole session. Okay. So very first is functionality. Don't get confused. Black box testing is also called functional testing. Under black box testing, we do have functionality. I'll just share that particular. Yeah, so black box testing is also known as functional testing. We do have an alternative name for that, right? Under that particular type of black box testing, we do have this many. First one is functionality. So functional and functionality is two different things. Whole functionality testing comes under functional testing. Getting my point? So you should not get confused. Okay, are we clear on this, guys? Anyone wants to ask? Anyone is getting confused? Yes, no, anything, guys? I think it, yeah, cool. So basically, under functional testing, we do have first type as a functionality testing. You can better call it as a black box testing. Under black box testing, we do have functionality testing as the first type. So what exactly functionality testing is? Okay, so like I have explained this particular part before also. Let's move on to functionality testing first. Then we'll, if we get time today, we'll try to cover that up. Okay, so functionality testing. Guys, do we have a recording started? I think we missed recording today. Can anyone tell that recording is in progress? I think it's.
Yes,
Yes,
it
Started.
Okay, cool. Okay, so then we have basically functionality testing. Functionality testing is the very first type of black box testing. So every testing I'll explain you in this way, right? What is the purpose of that particular testing? Why we are doing that testing? What exact thing we are concentrating on? And how to do that testing? Why, when to do that testing? Okay, so we'll try to divide every testing in these three pieces. What is the purpose of doing it? How to do it, and when to do it? Okay, so very first type, functionality testing. In the definition is saying testing each and every component thoroughly against the requirement specification is called functionality testing. Now basically what is, here we have like a lot more technical terms, right? It is saying each and every component. We don't know what is component right now. What does this thoroughly means? How exactly we need to test, that we need to understand. And requirement we already know, right? It will come from the customer end, right? We already know. So let's open a website and try to understand it, right? Let's go to our favorite Amazon website and try to understand what is component, first of all. So anyone know by any chance what is component? Components of websites or components of any application.
Header, footer.
Header, footer, yeah, correct. And there are a lot more components, right? Radio button, text field, and all. If you have learned anytime HTML, you might have like heard about it. But those who are non-technical, right? Let's try to understand with them what exactly from the initial state, what exactly the components are. So there is a very basic definition for it. If you follow that definition, you will be able to bifurcate whether the element is a component or not. Okay. So anything you see on the screen through which you interact with the software is a component. So how will you interact with the software? Basically, either you give the input or get the output, correct? This is how you interact with the software. If I'm trying to type here, let's say can, so here I'm trying to give an input to the software can, and software is giving me an output as a recommendation of this list, correct? If I try to select this, I'm giving one more input, Canon printer, and this is an output of it, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So I am interacting with the software, but how exactly I am interacting with? I am interacting with different component. Here the component which we are using here is basically the search bar, isn't it? We are using search bar in order to give the input, and this landing screen is working as a component which is giving us the output, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to say here is anything you see on the screen through which you are interacting with the software means either you are giving an input or you are getting an output that you can consider as a component or an element. Now it could be anything, any kind, any type. This drop down is also a component. You can sort, you can give an input to the particular software. This scroll bar is also a component. You can drag and you can see more outputs out of this particular screen. This search bar is a component. This label is a component. How label is a component? I am interacting with this label. I'm reading out the text and I'm getting that understanding it is an Amazon website. So anything, any such thing through which you are interacting with the software, either you are getting an output or giving an input, is a component. Got the understanding on the component? What is component? Everyone, I want yes or no from everyone,
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
because
Yes.
it's an important thing. Right? If you don't get this, you will not get what exactly the functionality testing is. So functionality testing, we totally concentrate on the component, each and every component, as the definition is saying, each and every component thoroughly. Now what does this thoroughly means? Thoroughly means testing with all the entire set of values which you can think of, possible scenario or set of values which you can think of. Let's take an example of it, right? For an example, this is an add user form. So basically we all have gone through these kind of forms, right, in our student life, wherein you have to fill all the forms and all your details to get registered in the examination, isn't it? So basically this is, assume that this is that kind of form. We do have few component here. We do have add user link, we do had add user page here, header will be there, and then these are all labels, right? This will not do anything but to display information, but to display text in front of user. This is an add user label, name label, password label, designation label, and phone number, date of birth, etc, etc. So these are all labels, and these are different components, more different components. This is a text field wherein user will be able to enter the data. This is also a text field. Designation is a drop down, you'll get in the requirement, right? It is not showing right now here, but you'll get in the requirement. Designation is a drop down. Yeah, this is the requirement of that particular, basically that particular page. Okay, so you have got this kind of, whenever you are getting a requirement, right, with that requirement you will get something called as design. a, it will be a two-dimensional drawing kind of thing which will describe you how exactly the software will look like. Okay, this happens in the industry. How this is how it happens in the industry, right? So whenever you get a requirement, you will also get a design through which you can understand how the software will look and feel. Okay, so this way only you'll get the design, a better version of it, I would say. I can show you one. We usually use something called as Figma as a software to create the design. They usually use, basically, and we have this kind of designs in order to basically understand the software. So this will be the designs. Okay, this is not the perfect one to show, I guess. I'll show you one. Good, don't worry about it. So yeah, there is a lot more examples if you see here. Let's take this one. Can you guys see the screen? Can you guys see
Yes,
this?
sir.
So basically, if you can see here, right, this is a design. This will not do anything. This is a two-dimensional design, but you will get to understand that, okay, when the software will come to me from the developer end, it will look like this. Okay, you can see it here, right? It will be in this way. It's a two-dimensional drawing kind of thing, drawing kind of thing, but basically it will tell you how the software will look like. If the calendar will be there, calendar will look like this. If you select a particular date, it will glow in purple, something like that. So it will give you that look and feel kind of information to you. Also, how particular application will look like. So not exactly like this rough design, rough drawing or something, whatever you call it as, but a more perfect way of it. So basically, you will get the design and you will get a requirement like this. If you want to do you can call it as a functionality requirement, each and every component level requirement. And for an example, this username text field, we do have a requirement, should accept 6 to 32 characters. Password should accept 5 to 8 characters. Now if you have this requirement, right, let's take this particular requirement only. It is saying it should accept 6 to 32 characters. So what is the basics of the testing we have learned? As soon as we get the requirement, we should derive the scenarios, right? And that's what the functionality testing is saying. Thoroughly testing, basically in order to test the component thoroughly, we should have tested the software with all the possible scenarios or all the possible values which we can think of, right? So if this is the requirement, this is your design. When the software will when the software will be delivered to you, you should be able to have all the scenarios ready by the time, by seeing the design and by seeing the requirement. And when the software comes, when you put all the data, all the scenarios, when you apply on the software in each and every component, that particular thing is called as nothing but your functionality testing. Are we clear on this, guys? Or should I repeat one more time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll repeat one more time. How it will happen? In order to do the functionality testing, first of all, you will have a functionality level requirement, but basically component level requirement, functionality requirement. So wherein you will have a description of each and every component, how it should work, right? Like this. A username text field should accept 6 to 32 character. Mobile number should accept 10-digit integer value, something like that. Okay. So basic idea is that if you get this particular requirement, with that you will get something called as designs, so that you can see that how exactly it will look like, right? Then basic idea is that once you got these two, you have to start basically deriving scenarios out of this requirement. Okay, once you derive all the scenarios, for an example, we'll take 2-3 scenarios, right? For this mobile number text field, it is saying it should accept 10-digit integer value. So first we'll start deriving scenarios for positive testing. Means basically we'll try to enter the valid phone number and try to test it is working fine or not, correct? So basically we'll derive a scenario wherein we'll have a valid mobile number, 10-digit integer value. Then we can also test with less than 10-digit, maybe 9-digit, more than 10-digit, maybe 11-digit, and check whether it is rejecting that value, showing an error or not. Then we can test with a lot more scenarios, like we can put the alphabets, we can put the decimal point, we can put the fraction, we can put the special character, we can put a lot more things, right? Correct? So basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to make sure that that particular component, that particular element which we are saying mobile number text field, is exactly accepting that data which it is meant to accept, and rejecting all other data which it is meant to deny. Getting my point? So the functionality testing is totally to deal with what? Testing each and every component thoroughly. Thoroughly means what? Checking with all the valid and invalid set of values and all the scenarios which you can think of, and make sure that particular component is behaving according to the requirement. This whole thing is called as functionality testing. Any questions around it? Yes, no, anything, guys? No, sir. Okay, what
No
about
questions,
others?
sir. No questions.
Okay, it's
No,
easy to
sir.
understand, but you need to understand the concept is easy. You understood this point, right? What is functionality testing? It comes under black box testing. Here we test each and every component, whether thoroughly. Basically, thoroughly keyword is very necessary. Thoroughly, and check whether the component is working fine according to the requirement specification or not. But here we have to learn a lot more things. Basically, we need to learn how to derive scenarios. We should practice how to derive scenarios, then only we'll be able to derive more and more scenarios and quality scenarios. Okay, so the basic idea is that whenever you are deriving scenarios, sometimes you might derive similar kind of scenario. For an example, for this phone number text field, I have tested with ABC while entering ABC. Now, if you are again want to you are again testing the software, testing the component with XYZ, then basically you are testing the same functionality of the software with a different set of values, with a different value, right? Basically, this particular approach is called as over testing. We shouldn't do it. Whenever we are deriving scenarios, we should be conscious about what exactly we are deriving. This will not come in a day. We'll try to understand in a more brief way in future, but on a higher level, did we understood what is functionality testing today? Yes, no, anything?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I'll give you an assignment today. Okay, so try to take the screenshot of this page, the design one. Anyone can do it. Can anyone take the task, take the screenshot of these two screens and deploy it in the group, and then I'll explain you the assignment.
Okay, sir, next.
Next, yeah, this one is done. Done. Okay, can you share it in the group, WhatsApp group which we have? Done.
Sir.
Cool. Now, the assignment is, carefully listen to this, right? The assignment is, you just see the requirement. You try to derive as much as scenario you can derive from your end for each and every requirement, for each and every component. Are we clear on this? Both positive and valid, valid and invalid, with all the scenarios you have to derive to do positive testing and negative testing, and you need to make sure that you are deriving for all. Okay, are we clear?
Yes.
Should I repeat one more time?
Sir,
Assignment
please
part?
repeat what we have to do.
Yeah. So basic idea is that just read out the requirement, this requirement, then see the design and try to derive for each requirement, right? For each component, try to derive scenarios. For an example, this name text field, it is saying it should accept 6 to 32 character. Now you should derive scenarios like I will test with less than 6, more than 32, in between 32 and 6. For an example, 10 characters or something like that. I will test with this, I will test with that. Try to derive all the scenarios and document it. Okay. Try to write on paper, on Excel sheet, whatever suits you. But yeah, try to do this assignment. This will do what? This will polish your scenario deriving skills. Okay. Are we clear, everyone? Those who are silent, mostly silent in the class, guys.
Yes, sir.
I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. Like, not even the assignment part, but all the whole class. Okay.
Can I have that page of functionality testing definitely?
Yeah, you can have. Even like, anyways, I'll be sharing this PPT, but let me have this confirmation first. But yeah, you can have the screenshot. Done. Got it, guys?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so basic idea is that this functionality testing is not done. We'll revisit it in next class, and we'll try to learn more things around it. We'll try to see some of you guys might be doing the assignment, right? So we'll try to check the assignment of one or two. It's like obviously not possible to go through 25 assignments in the class, right? But yeah, but we'll try to see one or two, and we'll try to understand what are the commonly made mistakes you guys are doing, and we'll try to correct it so that you'll get the proper understanding of how we derive the scenarios. And there is one more concept around the functionality testing: under testing, over testing, and optimized testing. We'll try to basically understand that. Okay, this is the scope of next class. But in today's class, any kind of doubt, any kind of questions, you can ask right now before we wrap it up for today. Anyone? You guys are smart, right? Got everything at one go. Cool. So yeah, so try to do the assignments. If you find any kind of difficulty, you can nudge in the group. I'll try to help you out. Okay. Tomorrow will be holiday, obviously, and tomorrow is Sunday, and Monday we'll meet again, same time, 12:30. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Have a great weekend, guys. Bye bye. See you. See you on Monday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.